Hello, in this lecture we will continue learning about some development aspects of this whole Postman thing, and we will take a look at mocking APIs, mocking the APIs. Now basically what that means, you kind of create this sort of a fake API system which on request will send back your fake response or your saved example, to be more exact. Okay, so to do that, it's quite easy. Once again, it's quite easy. You just go to your collection. Okay, you just go to your collection like that. More actions, and you have this mock collection. Okay, mock collection. So we want to mock this collection. As you can see, we have this little dialog window now. And you can also see we have a name. So let's call it a test collection like that, test collection. Okay, and we don't actually have any choices, just like that. Okay, and I can make it private. But as you can see, I would need an API key. I don't want to do that right now. Per se, but basically, as you can see, it's quite self-explanatory, right? You will need to add an API key header to your requests. Okay, so basically you would go to their system. It's a very simple interface. You would generate that key, and then for each request, you would put in that key. So basically that's how they prevent any kind of unauthorized access to your API, and you can use it just on your own. Now there are some limitations on your calls that you can make, so it might be useful just so that someone wouldn't abuse it too much. Okay, in this case I just want to show you how it works, so I'm not gonna make this private. I'm gonna delete it afterwards. I'm gonna click create mock server like that, create mock server, and it's done. It's actually done. You see, to call the mock server, you can find some examples and use them, but I already know how to do that, so I'm just going to copy this link. If I can. See if I can. Maybe I can't. See. Okay. So we have this test collection. It should be running. Let's see. Copy mock URL. You basically just need to copy the URL. You don't really get in here. You can run it. You see, this is another kind of an interesting feature. You can run the whole collection. Okay, you can run the whole collection. I can try to run it. You see, if I run the whole collection, it actually runs the whole thing. Okay, so it's gonna be each request. So you could create a specific collection or just use a different environment variable for this particular arrangement, and then kind of run it as a test. We will cover tests in the later lectures. Okay, so it might be useful for that, but basically with this, you just run all the requests in that particular collection. Okay, that's how you do it. I'm not gonna actually do this too much. Not prepared for that, but you get the idea. It's important to know these things, but this might be very useful, especially when you have a really big API and you actually want to run kind of a whole scenario of things that the user might do. Okay, so I'm gonna get back. This is just an example one. I'm gonna save changes. That actually I don't need to save changes. Let's just skip that. So I'm now in my form data request, and as you can see, I have a second test host. I'm gonna replace that with my mock API. Okay, with that URL, I'm gonna replace that with that. And I'm gonna send it. See how it goes, see how it works, see if it works. And as you can see, I've sent it, and I get test 0. Now you might notice I have val1 test and val2 30. Okay, so you see it is test 0 because it takes one specific example. It takes one specific example. It doesn't actually do any kind of an action. It just returns your kind of a mock example. But again, this is very, very useful when developing a front end without having any kind of access to any kind of a live API. And this is useful because most front-end developers will probably not want to run some very heavy API on their computer whilst developing their front end. There's just no point in that. It takes a lot of resources, a lot of computer resources, and at some point you really need a very, very powerful computer to kind of run it all in debug mode and to post the whole thing to the server, to upload to the server. That might just create some real bottlenecks in your development process. So this is again very useful indeed to create that. Again, you go to collections, you create mock collection you click, and after that, that's it basically. You have your URL, just like that. As you can see, mock collection, then you get your URL, and that's it. You have access to your mocks. Okay, and with that we will conclude this lecture.